Yet here, accused number 4. I'm told Luko prison is it's running late. Whilst we're waiting for accused number 5, I've just been informed by Mr. Ramusipili that he wants to place certain things on record regarding the developments about the legal aid. I wonder if we shouldn't carry on with that in the meantime. It doesn't affect accused number 4 who is not here. In any case, his legal representative is here.
You want this court to sit with an accused person missing? Is that a court which is lawfully constituted?
Well, if his legal representative agrees there too, he can be excused for a certain period.
He doesn't make the law, he can only quote the law.
Yes. Yes.
The law is clear.
Yes.
About the procedure you want to...
Yes, but my understanding is if his legal representative asks the court to carry on for a certain period of time in the absence of the accused, that can happen.
And then the accused comes and says, I mean, yes,
but fortunately, it doesn't really affect accused
number 2.
Accused number 4.
Number 4.
Yes, and I'm looking at section 1.
Is he not also instructed by the legal aid?
No,
I mean the legal aid.
No, not the. Oh yes, accused number 4 is.
So it doesn't affect him.
No, it doesn't affect him.
Yes, Mr. Ramusipi, they say it doesn't affect number 4. Mr. Ngomalo, they say the client is not affected.
My Lord, I'm standing up on behalf of accused number 4. I think I'm standing up for accused number 4. I think we rather take a short adjournment, my Lord, because the court will not be fully or properly constituted in the absence of accused number 4. He has an interest in the matter.
I've just been informed that accused number 4 has arrived. He's just in the cells.
Okay.
To approach accused number 2 with the court, please.
Yes. Mr. Baloyi, did you read about that case of a certain attorney who was charged with 348 counts of fraud, I think, embezzlement of trust funds? He was represented by Silk. Then he came before a magistrate in the regional court. Then the Silk and the prosecutor agreed that we don't have to categorize all 348 charges. I mean, they are all fraud.
Yes.
Did you read about it?
Yes. My understanding is that the charges were not put to the accused and he didn't...
Nah, you know what happened.
Please,
this guy is charged, he's an attorney. You see, he's not like a layman.
Yes.
He's an attorney. He's charged with 348 charges of fraud. And then the parties agree that he's going to plead not guilty. So it's not necessary to say count number 1 is he stole 2 cents. Count number 3, 20 rands. They just said he's pleads not guilty, he's charged with fraud. 348 8 counts of fraud. Now the magistrate turns around and he says, you know what, I don't think I was correct in notarizing the plea, because if you have to ask this person on all individual charges, unless he makes a statement that he has read the charge sheet and he understands the charge sheet, and, you know,
Yes,
you see that silly technicality.
There's the usual procedure, my lord, in such lengthy charge sheets to ask the accused and his legal representative whether the accused is familiar with the charges, have they gone through the charges with them, and the accused confirms and then he pleads.
I don't think he'll succeed anyway.
I don't think so either. He's an attorney and represented by senior counsel.
So is number 4 here?
Yes, number 4 is now here.
Yeah, Mr. Ramsey, I'm told you want to say something.
As the court places, my lord, with respect to feedback pertaining to my feedback to legal aid as to the termination of the mandate that happened on Monday, Mr. Mujuto called me on my way this morning to say that it's not available, but he requests me to place the following on record. Firstly, that my mandate with legal aid, or my termination of legal aid mandate by accused number 1, was not done with good cause.
It was not done?
With good cause. And secondly, that accused number 1 had previously been granted legal aid in the lower courts, that he also terminated similarly, so that now he has placed himself in jeopardy of obtaining future help from legal aid should his instruction with Mr. Mgomezulu not going according to order. And lastly, that in case that he gets legal aid in future, it is not a guarantee that Mr. Mgomezulu will be appointed on his behalf. So those are the issues that I said should I not come to chambers and vacillate with the court, but he said they must be placed on record. As the court pleases, my lord, I'm indebted.
Yeah, let's just be clear. So it says number 1, termination of the legal aid mandate
was not with good cause.
Not done with good cause.
Yes.
Right?
And then that he has placed himself in jeopardy of getting legal aid in future, because he was allocated legal aid in the lower courts that he also terminated before. And that in future, should he succeed with another application for legal aid, it is no guarantee that Mr. Mgomezulu is going to be appointed on his behalf.
Okay, let's hear Mr. Mgomezulu.
As the court pleases,
My lord, this is the first time to hear this, and I cannot comment further in relation to the instruction of accused number 1 to legal aid, or the relationship with accused number 1 to the legal aid board, to legal aid South Africa. So
you don't want to consult your client? Because you say it's the first time you hear about this. There's your client.
May I just approach him?
Yes.
Thank you, my lord. My instruction is that it is their decision that they've taken, and he reserves the right not to comment on the same reason.
Okay, fine. Yes, Mr. Baloyi?
As the court pleases, my lord, I think Mr. Mgomezulu has signaled his intention to apply for reopening of the defense case. Maybe we should first stand down to give him the opportunity to motivate his justification.
We should stand down?
To give him the opportunity to motivate his application.
No, I thought it was by common consent.
No, as indicated, my lord, we do oppose
you're opposing it now?
the application, and it is our submission that reopening is not just merely there for the taking. The accused has got to motivate such application.
Okay.
Njengoba ngomsombuluko sasikade siphekise icala ngoba wawukade uthe nommeli wakho ndifuna ukufaka isicelo sokuthi nivule futhi icala leni libiza abofakazi. Umshushisi uthi lokho uzomelana nako. Akusukuthi njengoba nifake isicelo bazovuma nje kanjalo. Bona basazomelana nalokho ukuthi akusumthetho nje ukuthi ningahle nibiza abofakazi ngemva kokuthi bese senivale icala leni. Ngokwamanje uthi ucela inkantolo sike sithi ukuphuma kancanyana ukuthi baba uMngomezulu aqedelele la angakaqedi khona bese ke uma sibuya kuyaqalwa ke ufakwa leso sicelo ukuya ngomthetho.
Mr. Baloyi, this court has made an order premised on the basis that you did not oppose the application. You actually suggested that maybe if we postpone it to Thursday, you remember?
Yes.
Saying that.
Well,
hello?
Yes. No, that was in respect of legal aid, my lord. That
No, it wasn't.
The issues pertaining to legal aid be stood down. So for a few days, my words were, my lord, that the issues regarding legal aid be stood down so that this issue can be resolved. And I did mention, my lord, that precisely what Mr. Ramosepile has put on record now, that we might find ourselves in a situation where accused number one is not in the position to afford legal fees.
So you're saying the order made was incorrect?
Well, I'm just putting on record what
the state's view.
What the state view was. The court will recall that even when we were in chambers, I indicated that the state opposes the application, and the state and the court then mentioned to Mr. Mgomezulu that the state is opposing the application. What is his comment?
No, fine. I'm overruling you. I've made an order, and I understood the order to say that the application for the reopening of the accused one state's case, number one's case, is granted. The order is granted.
We do understand and respect that, my lord, but can we just be allowed to argue the point? And if the court then still, after arguing the point, overrules us, we will leave it there. But
okay, let's hear you.
We just ask to be heard, my lord.
Okay.
We've compiled heads of argument, my lord, in this regard. My lord, the nub of the issue at this stage is whether accused number one can be allowed to reopen his case and call further witnesses in a trial within a trial after his legal team, consisting of Mr. Ramosepile and Mr. Mgomezulu, took a conscious decision to close the defense case on the 16th of February 2024 without calling any defense witnesses. In paragraph 1.2, my lord, we point out that Mr. Ramusipili has been representing accused number 1 and 2 during the trial. On the 16th of October 2023, Mr. Ramusipili indicated to the court that Mr. Mgomezulu was joining him as part of the defense team for accused number 1 and 2. And he addressed the court as follows. We refer to the record of the 16th of October 2023, pages 1 and 2. And we quoted the following passage. Mr. Ramusipili, as the court pleases, my lord, I'm indebted to the court, my lord. I'm here to introduce and appoint Mr. Mgomezulu, who is part of our team, the defense for accused 1 and 2, and he will be dealing with the evidence regarding the aspects that we are covering from Friday and also in the future, my lord, as the court pleases. And then the court remarked, yes, Mr. Mgomezulu. Then Mr. Mgomezulu replied, as the court pleases, my lord, it is indeed so that I was instructed by Advocate Ramusipili to come. Then the court asked him, is Mr. Ramusipili an advocate or attorney? Then Mr. Mgomezulu replied, he's an attorney. Then the court remarked, he cannot appoint another advocate. Then Mr. Mgomezulu replied, I beg your pardon. Then the court remarked, only an attorney can do that. Then Mr. Mgomezulu replied, I beg your pardon, that is indeed so, my lord. I request that I'm ready to proceed. The court said yes. Then Mr. Mgomezulu, as from tomorrow, as arranged in relation to the evidence of the magistrate. And the court said yes. Then Mr. Mgomezulu, I was going to bring an application for the recalling of Colonel Mboto, who has already testified on Friday, together with Sergeant Monareng, on the instructions that I got from accused number 1. I humbly request the court, my lord, that I need to consult with both accused 1 and 2 and request the honorable court to make an order that I be given some few hours to consult with accused 1 and 2 as it pleases the court. So, my lord, we make the submission that Mr. Mgomezulu has been part of the defense team for accused number 1 and 2 as early as the 16th of October 2023, in the early stages of the trial within the trial. It was put on record, my lord, when we were here on Monday, on the 4th of March, that the defense team for all 5 accused met to discuss whether the witnesses or some of the witnesses that Mr. Mgomezulu mentioned should be called on behalf of the accused. And after that meeting, a decision was then taken by the defense counsel, of which Mr. Mgomezulu was part, not to call those witnesses. Now, Mr. Mgomezulu wants to call those witnesses after counsel had submitted heads of argument on the matter. If this application to reopen the case for accused number 1 is granted, new evidence will be adduced, which means that all counsel will have to revise their heads of argument to include the newly adduced evidence. In paragraph 1.4, we point out that when the trial resumed on the 4th of March 2024 for argument on the admissibility of the statement made by accused 1 and 2, Mr. Mgomezulu indicated that he has not been paid by the Legal Aid Board and that he now holds a private brief to represent accused number 1. He also signaled his intention to apply for the reopening of the case for accused number 1 in the trial within the trial in order to call further witnesses. In paragraph 1.5, we point out that the state objects to the reopening of the case for accused number 1 to call further witnesses Firstly, the reopening of case is not merely there for the asking, as we've pointed out. Mr. Mgumezulu must bring an application for the reopening of case for accused number 1. Then we deal with the legal position, my lord, in paragraph 2.1. The question that must be asked is whether the right to a fair trial in terms of section 35(3) of the Constitution includes the reopening of a defense case after a conscious decision was taken not to call the witnesses that are now being sought to be called. We refer to the legal classicals on fairness of a trial, which is now entrenched in section 35(3) of the Constitution, and the court has repeatedly referred to this case of R versus Hepworth, 1928, AD 265 at 277, wherein the court held, and we quote, that a criminal trial is not a game where one side is entitled to claim the benefit of any omission or mistake made by the other side. A judge's position in a criminal trial is not merely that of an umpire to see to it that the rules of the game are observed by both sides. A judge is an administrator of justice. He is not merely a figurehead. He has not only to direct and control the proceedings according to the recognized rules of procedure, but to see that justice is done, and we close the quotation. We refer further to this case of State versus Sheikh and others. The citation is given in the heads, wherein the court held as follows, and we quote, the applicant stressed that they place their reliance on the general right to a fair trial, which, as this court has held, extend beyond those specific rights enumerated in subsection 35(3)(a) to O of the Constitution. The right to a fair trial requires a substantive rather than a formal or textual approach. And this is the point that we want to emphasize, my lord. It is clear also that fairness is not a one-way street, conferring an unlimited right on an accused to demand the most favorable possible treatment. A fair trial also requires fairness to the public as represented by the state. It has to instill confidence in the criminal justice system with the public, including those close to the accused, as well as those distressed by the audacity and horror of crime, with close quotation. We refer further to the case of Multi-Choice Limited and others versus the National Prosecuting Authority. We give the quotation there, where in the SEA, the now JP of the Gauteng Division, he was then the judge of the Supreme Court of Appeal, had as follows, and we quote, our Constitutional Court has been vocal regarding the protection of the right to a fair trial. Indeed, any accused person who appears in a court of law facing any charge has a constitutionally guaranteed right to a fair trial, which includes the foundational values of dignity, freedom, and equality, which are central to a fair trial. And the court then referred to the case of Zukuz and others, State versus Chilo, wherein they describe the right to a fair trial as follows: a comprehensive right and embraces a concept of substantive fairness, and that at the heart of the right to a fair criminal trial, and what infuses its purpose is for justice to be done and also to be seen to be done. Then we refer to the case of State versus Lameni and others. We give the quotation there where Judge Krichler, as he was judge of the Constitutional Court, described the phrase interest of justice as follows: as a useful term denoting in broad and evocative language a value judgment of what will be fair and just to all concerned. Then we refer to the handbook Himstra on criminal procedure, the February 2023 version at pages 22 to 16. There, my lord, he sets out the principles that are applicable to the state insofar as reopening of its case is concerned, but we submit, my lord, that these principles are applicable in equal force to the reopening of the case by the defense. The writer states as follows: once the state case has been closed, it is possible for the state only, and we emphasize that, my lord, only in exceptional circumstances to lead further evidence. Such circumstances include being surprised by the new fact which the state could not have foreseen. If there was an indication of the facts, whether in plea explanation, cross-examination, or in other manner, the state has to lead evidence in rebuttal before closing its case. So, my lord, we're saying the defense has been aware of the issues that are in dispute in this matter, and before closing their case, they should have made sure that they lead all the evidence. Paragraph 2.6. My lord, we mentioned that the possibility of calling those or some of those witnesses was discussed amongst the defense counsel, of which Mr. Mngomezulu was part, and a conscious decision was taken not to call them. There's thus no element of surprise, and we also submit, my lord, that there are no exceptional circumstances for the reopening. We submit that the defense must lead all its witnesses during its case, and that a conscious decision has been taken not to lead evidence of those witnesses during the trial, within the trial, but that they will consider calling them in the main trial, and Mr. Mngomezulu agreed with the decision. Paragraph 2.7, we submit, my lord, that an important factor to consider is that some of those witnesses might be on the list of state witnesses in the main trial.
That's exigency. Is that a fact? You remember
yes,
I asked,
it is a fact. For
I
instance,
asked,
yes.
if you recall, who are these witnesses?
Yes.
Mr. Mngomezulu said, hey, SAP.
Yes.
I said, who? Then he elaborated and mentioned their names. He knows the principle. If any of those witnesses who are police officers are in the list of witnesses intended to be called by the state, you know the first privilege and preference falls onto the state, Mr. Mngomezulu.
Yes.
You are aware of the principle.
Yes. For instance, General Shabani.
No, let him
Yes.
first respond.
Oh, sorry.
Because that is the only factor which is new here. That, let's read it so that an important factor to consider is that some of them might be on the list of state witnesses in the main trial. For instance,
Yes.
General Shabani, so the state must still make a call whether to call him or not. He is thus a state witness. What do you say about that?
My lord, I agree with the court to the effect that if a witness is purported to be used in the main trial, the state must be, in the event it does not want to use that witness, can make the witness available
Right.
to the...
What's the section 2? Who knows criminal law here? Section, when you make witnesses available, you don't just make them available. The law
Yes.
says so. Section?
I think it's 2.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
Right, yeah, you know that.
Yes, my lord, I know that.
That's it. So,
My lord,
no, just listen to me.
all right.
You must confer with Mr. Baloyi about the possibility of, for instance, this very witness, Shabani, whether he intends calling him. I made a considered decision. And you know, by the way, I'm functus officio.
yes.
You know that.
That's
I've made
correct.
that decision. I can't go back. But this exigency, was never considered by me. I consider the fact that there were exceptional circumstances in calling these so-called 3 witnesses by accused number 1 in rebuttal of the state's case in the trial within the trial, because it was never mentioned at any stage. You and you and the other defense counsels, you held a private meeting. Is that not so?
That's correct.
I wasn't part of that meeting, so I wasn't aware that, oh, zombies are with the main trial or what. So I just listened to you saying that it is imperative and in the interest of justice and fairness that those witnesses required for the defense of accused number 1 be called, right? So I don't have a problem with that. The only problem which would appear to be a problem is if General Leshabane, as stated by the state, is intended to be used in the main trial.
May I address the court?
Yes, yes.
My Lord, in relying on the exceptional circumstances that may emanate during the application or at the request of either of the party, it has been made clear that General Leshabane does not have to come and testify on what the state will lead as evidence in the main trial.
Who says that?
That's what I told my colleagues.
Who told you? I don't know that.
Yes, may
I don't know that.
May I address further?
Yes.
Accused number 1, when he places the evidence, when he led his evidence, he said when he was released, then that was said during the course of the trial within the trial. And I even, when consulting with General Shabane, I confined only on that aspect.
I don't want to hear about your consultation.
Yes.
You know it's improper.
But I don't want to dwell much on the consultation. The reason why.
No, you know what? There's only one aspect here. Whether Leshabane is going to be used in the main trial or not. That's all. The other stories, they're settled. I've given an order that you can call whichever witnesses you want to call.
Will the same
But
apply?
if the state says one of the witnesses it wants to call, then the law obviously says the state must have the first privilege to call that witness. And if he refuses, Mr. Baloyi, if he refuses after having made a statement, you know what to do.
Yes, there are various
the law is
avenues
clear.
open.
You can be impeached,
But what
etc., etc.
what puzzles me is that the same state that is objecting to the calling of General Leshabane is the one that subpoenaed him to come to court today. So if this thing is canvassed now and I was not informed,
Yeah, okay, now that
Advocate Baloyi.
Mr. Gomez, otherwise we're going to be here the whole day.
yes,
Unless you quote me the law which says I can override the consents of the state that they intend calling Leshabane. If it's in the law, I will order it, okay?
thank you, my Lord, I will do so.
Otherwise,
But may I just place this one, because the state has already made submissions relating to all what the court has
to what?
had. I'm saying the state has already made submissions
To do what?
about these heads of argument, and I was not even informed that they are going to.
No, they're irrelevant now because, like I said,
They are relevant, but I was not afforded the opportunity, and I did not consult with accused number one.
Fine.
Yes.
But those hits, they're okay. The only new dichotomy which they traverse is the fact that Leshabane may possibly be called by the state as a witness in the main trial. That's all. Otherwise, all these principles, I know them. One case you, Mr. Baloyi, forgot is State versus King. Hello? Are you aware of that
Yes,
case?
indeed, Mama.
That's it. That's the leading case in this exigence.
Yes.
SCA. Judgment was written by Harams.
Yes.
Okay.
Can we
So,
just maybe...
okay, lomthetho ngiyawazi.
But my Lord, I'm really concerned about this objection by the state.
Ah, no.
Yes.
Yeah, fine. You can discuss it when you are having coffee.
So is the same apply to the second witness that I was going to call Warrant Officer
No, he
Makhubu.
hasn't mentioned him in the papers here. I'm talking about what he says. He doesn't say, and so and so and so. Unless he says that, but he hasn't said that. Mr.
Indeed, my lord, but
Yeah.
can you just maybe finalize our submissions?
Yeah,
Yes, I can just place on record that we do not subpoena General Shabani as my learned
Right.
friend has contended. The only witness that we requested to be subpoenaed at the request of the defense is Warrant Officer Makhubu. That is the only witness.
Warrant Officer Makhubu.
Yes.
And then Mr. Is that Colonel David Sibia?
Well, they indicated, my lord, that we should only subpoena
Oh, okay, fine.
that witness, yeah.
Yeah, fine.
In paragraph 2.8, we mentioned, my lord, that this case has been long running.
Yeah, right.
And the family of the deceased, the public
Yeah.
are entitled to an outcome on the guilt or innocence of the accused as soon as is practicable. And we submit, my lord, that applications of this kind delay the proceedings. And finally, as far as relevance is concerned, we mentioned paragraph 3.1 that it is not immediately clear what the relevance of those witnesses' evidence is to the question whether accused number 1 and 2 have made the disputed statement freely and voluntarily. They were not present when the accused were arrested or in any way involved in the investigation phase when accused number 1 and 2 made those statements. And my lord, we make this submission with the greatest of respect. The aim of leading their evidence appears to want to throw a red herring and to distract from the real issues that are in dispute. We mentioned that accused number 1 will still have the opportunity to call them in the main trial if the state makes them available to the defense. We therefore submit that there is no prejudice. And finally, my lord, we make the submission that should the court be inclined to grant the application, that the state will request that Mr. Mgumezulu must indicate in detail what the relevance of the evidence is of every such witness that he intends to call.
Okay. Is that it?
That is,
Yeah, I've heard you.
that's
Mr.
it.
Mgumezulu knows the law. He doesn't have to tell this court before he leads the witness whether that evidence is going to be relevant or not. I've been supplicating all in the trial, within the trial. I even made a remark that some people are going to Afghanistan or the Antarctica. When this thing, the trial within a trial is compartmentalized. It's just one issue there. Whether the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt that these statements or confessions or admissions or pointing outs were made freely and voluntarily. But I've listened to people telling me about visiting the girlfriend in phase 2, Rustenburg. What is her name? Was he told that they're taking you away? I just kept quiet. But obviously, when this court makes a decision, it is based on what the law says. A trial within a trial is. You can read whether Mr. Muman, I see you're looking at me. State versus Muchinindi. You're aware of that case. Right. State versus Lameni. Right? State versus Ferreira, etc., etc., etc. So Mr. Mgumezulu doesn't have to address the relevance of those witnesses. This court has granted the order that those witnesses may be called, except now, as I say, the only problem would be Shabani because the state says they're going to use him, if possible. Okay, so you can continue, sir. But before you do that, just synopsis of the interpretation of the legal issues which have been raised so that the accused may understand what is happening. I know some of them do understand English. The other day I listened to accused number 2 saying, in Pukeng, I normally go to the offices there to certify documents. Am I quoting you correct, sir? Accused number 2.
Iqiniso ngisho ukuthi inkantolo wena uke wakhuluma isingesi la enkantolo. Uthi wena ephukeni unokuya uma uyocertify amanye amaphepha.
You said it in English.
Ithi inkantolo uyisho ngesingesi ngelika George.
And I can tell you, very few judges can express themselves like you. Okay, let's go on. Just tell them the synopsis.
That's the court business. Manje ke inkantolo ithi uthi uba Baloyi uma yesukuma lelicala leli icala ukuthi libele lithathe isikhathi la ukuthi umsolo wokuqala kakhulu ulibele anabameli umnumzane Ramsipidi oyikuthi uye wabiza umnumzane uMngomezulu ukuze azoba naye kulelicala leli kusukela nge-16 zika October 2023 la ukuthi amalungelo wenu akusukuthi alibele ayagxamukelwa kuwo ulibelwe niyanikwa amalungelo ukuthi nina nibe nabameli futhi yonke into enilibele niyicela nilibele niyanikwa ukuthi ningayenzelwa manje ke kwamele kwazeke ukuthi labo fakazi laba njengoba nina usibiya ecela ukuthi labo fakazi laba babizwe labo fakazi laba obuphi ubufakazi obusha obazoza nabo ngoba abameli bonke bese sebazilungiselela ukuthi bona bangadingida noma baxoxe ukuthi manje bona bacela ukuthi inkantolo ithini ngale sasigaba se-trial within a trial bese sebazilungiselele lezinto ezibizwa phecelezi ama-heads of argument ukuthi bazoxoxisana nenkantolo nomshushisi naye bese sekazilungisela manje into esemqoka ukuthi uma labo fakazi bazobizwa kusho ukuthi ke bonke abameli kuzofanele ukuthi bayogcwalisela kulobufakazi obusha kule ingxoxo zabo esebazenzile kwamele futhi mhlawumbe icala lizohlehliswa ukuthi bazogcwalisela ngalobufakazi lobobusha obuzabe kulethwe yilabo fakazi abasha ukuthi umnumzane Mngomezulu uthi nicela ukubabiza manje enye into esemqoka uthi umshushisi umndeni wakamufi nesizwe sonke silindile ukuthi icala leli liqhubeke ngoba kwamele kwaziwe ukuthi abasolwa banecala noma abanacala icelo ezifana nalezi zokuthi icala liyavulwa icala liyavalwa kubizwa abofakazi abasabizwa kwenza ukuthi icala lithathe isikhathi futhi icala ukuthi selinesikhathi eside libele liqhubeka njengoba umnumzane Mngomezulu naye wayekade phakama bese sekaphakama kwindaba ukuthi ivezwa naye umshushisi ukuthi kungenzeka ukuthi uGeneral Olishabane abizwe njengofakazi manje umthetho uthi uma ingabe ubushushisi buthi bunofakazi obafuna ukumbiza bese nomsolwa athi unofakazi obafuna ukuthi bambize nabo ubushushisi bona okwamele bunikwe igunya lokuthi bubize loyo fakazi ngoba ubona ubushushisi obumele umphakathi bumele nombuso manje ke okwamanje umshushisi uthi yena uyacela ukuthi lesicelo lesi singavunywa sokuthi icala livulwe kwamele nje kuxoxwe bese kudingidwa le ndaba ya lokhunjana yabameli njengoba bese sebazilungiselele ukuthi bona bangahle bakhulumisane nenkantolo manje umshushisi yena uyashweleza ukuthi ucela ukuthi icala liqhubeke labo fakazi laba njengoba bekade kushiwe esikhathini esidlulile ukuthi abameli bebavumelene ukuthi labo fakazi bangabizwa icala uma seliqhubeka phakathi kwecala nina uma nizobiza abofakazi benu kodwa manje njengoba ukuthi bathi nifuna ukuthi babizwe manje uthi umshushisi lokho ubambezela icala ingamafuphi izinto azishilo umshushisi.
Right, Mr. Mngomezulu, let's continue then.
My Lord, may I have a directive as to...
Now I call your witnesses. The state, I told the state that I'm found to Sufiki, I've made an order already. That
I call General
the
Chairman.
court should be open, the case of accused number 1 should be opened, and that the witnesses which you intended calling should be called except General Leshabane, because the state says they intend or they may still intend using him in the
Thank you,
meanwhile. Okay.
I understand now.
Right.
Thank you. Court pleases. May I call Warrant Officer Makhubu?
Yes.
Manje ke kubizwa warrant officer uMakhubu.
Yes, sir.
Whilst still waiting for Warrant Officer Makhubu, I just want to draw my learned friend's attention to Section 210 of the Criminal Procedure Act,
Yeah.
which
okay.
reads as follows: no evidence as to any fact, matter, or thing shall be admissible which is irrelevant or immaterial and which cannot conduce to prove or disprove any point or fact at issue in criminal proceedings.
Mr. Gomez is aware of that section.
I'm aware of this section.
Yes. Yes, swear the witness in, sir.
Amagama wonke nesibongo unayo into evimbayo ukuthi ungafunga ukuthi uyiqiniso manje uma uvuma uyafunga ukuthi ufakazi uzobethula la enkantolo kuzoba iqiniso lodwa iqiniso liphelele uma kunjalo phalama isandla sakho sokuthi uthi inkosi ngisize ukukhuluma iqiniso witness is solemn.
Yes.
Ukukhulumela phezulu.
Thank you, Madam.
Sir, is it correct that you are the member of the South African Police Services?
Iqiniso ukuthi uyiphoyisa mnumzane?
Yebo kunjani.
Yes, that is correct. Ngicela ukukhulumela phezulu ba.
What is your current rank?
I-rank yakho yiphi?
Warrant officer.
Warrant officer.
Can you please place your... So currently, where are you stationed?
Usebenzela phi
Which
okwamanje?
unit are you in?
Uyiphi unit?
DPCI.
DPCI. Ngicela ukukhulumela phezulu baba abafowethu nabo bakwazi ukufuzwa bonke bobahlali.
Oh, okay.
Can you, for record purposes, can you explain what is the DPC?
Ngicela uchaze ukuthi yini i-DPCI.
Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation.
It's Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation.
Is that commonly known as Hawks?
Ile eyaziwa njengama-Hawks.
Yebo.
That is correct.
Where are you based?
Usebenzela phi?
Number 165 Mayor Street, Germiston.
165 Mayor Street in Germiston.
Can you please place your career history for record purpose?
Sicela usitsheleke ukuthi wena umsebenzini wakho waqala nini kufikela namhlanje.
Ngaqala ngo-1992.
I started in 1992
Sebenza ku-uniform.
working as a uniform officer.
Yes.
Qhubeka.
Ngabuya ngaya
Sir,
ku-Medela.
can you please speak up? I've got bad hearing capacity.
Inkantolo
Khuluma njengami, ngaqala 1992. Everybody must hear you. Bangaphumi lapha abantu bathi hayi asimzwanga, because our people want to know what is happening kule case le. Please.
inkantolo nayo icela lesi sicelo engilibele ngisifaka nami ukuthi icela ukukhulumele phezulu wonke umuntu umphakathi ufuna ukwazi ukuthi kwenzakalani kule cala. Icela ukukhulumele phezulu ba.
Ngiyakwazi. Yayizongozi enkantolo.
I hear you, my lord.
In 1992, say, where were you working?
Ngo-1992 wawukade usebenza laphi?
Angisebenza eKatlehong police station.
Mkatlehong police station.
Then after 92, what?
Ngemva kwa-1992 kwayenzakalani?
Ngabe sengiya ku-murder and robbery.
I then was transferred to the murder and robbery unit.
Which year was that?
Ngamuphi unyaka?
Noma ngasakhumbule kahle ngathi beku-1998.
Even though I do not recall very well, however, I think it was in 1998.
Then proceed.
Ungaqhubeka?
Then i-murder and robbery bayiphelisa ngaya ku-serious and violence crime unit.
And then they stopped the murder and robbery unit, and I went to serious
And violence crime unit.
and violent crime unit.
Yes.
Qhubeka baba.
Ukusuka lapho
So which year was that? Sorry.
Ngamuphi unyaka?
enyaka ngisawukhumbula.
I cannot remember which year.
All right, proceed there.
Ungaqhubeka?
Ngisuka lapho ngaya ku-organized crime eJimmiston.
From there, I moved to organized crime in Jimmiston.
Yes. I can't
Ungaqhubeka?
recall which year was that as well.
Umuphi unyaka nawo awusakhumbuli?
Angisakhumbula.
I cannot recall the year.
Yes, proceed.
Ungaqhubeka?
Ngisuka lapho kwaba khona ithimba okuthiwa i-SOX, serious organized crime section.
From there was a team which was referred to as SOX, Serious Organized Crime Section.
Yes.
Ungaqhubeka?
Then 2010
Then in 2010,
ngaba ku-DPCI team manje.
that's when I was moved to DPCI to date.
All right. Do you still remember which year was the DPCI launched?
Usakhumbula ukuthi i-DPCI le yaqalwa ngamuphi unyaka?
Futhi ukulonjwa yalonjwa ngo-2009 mara ukusebenza ukuthi kusetshenzwe kwaqala ngo-2010.
It was launched in 2009, however, it started functioning in 2010.
So, in relation to the matter that you were called to testify today about the death of Senzo Meyiwa, can you tell the court how are you related to this case?
Manje ukuya ngaleli cala lelo obizwe ukuthi uzophana ngobufakazi ngalo namhlanje leli cala lokubulawa kuka Senzo Meyiwa, ungatshela inkantolo ukuthi wena ubandakanyiseka kanjani kuleli cala? Macala ngaphambili.
We don't really want to be obstructive, but we object against this evidence. We submit that it is not relevant. At this stage of the proceedings, my lord, the question is whether the statements that were made by the accused were made so freely, voluntarily, whilst they were in their sound and sober senses and without any undue influence. We submit that this line of examination has got nothing to do with the issues that are at hand.
It's what?
That this line of examination by my learned friend has got nothing to do with the issues that are at hand, and therefore the evidence is irrelevant.
Okay. Yes, Mr.
My lord,
Zulu.
for the state to prove the requirements of Section 217, the state called Kenan Swanepoel, and it is my submission that it never took the state. I'm not arguing, but it was not relevant.
Otherwise, it's over like the whole day.
Yes.
The objection is simple. The line or the trend of your examination
Yes.
has got nothing to do with a trial within a trial. That's the objection. Not that Swanepoel, what have you, please.
But to prove all the elements, say, in relation to this matter, do you have anything to do with an event that occurred in 2019 that relates to accused number one?
Kule cala Ikona into ekuthi uye wathatha inxaxheba kuyo mhlawumbe ngo-2019 ukuya ngomsola wokuqala.
Mhlambe mawungangitshela umsolo wokuqala ubani igama lakhe mhlambe.
Perhaps if I could be given the name of accused number 1.
Jozitube Sibia.
Jozitube Sibia.
Ngo-2019 ngabizwa uGeneral Shabane.
In 2019 I was being called by General Shabane.
Yes.
Qhubeka.
How were you called?
Ukubize kanjani?
And what was the reason for you?
Ekubiza isizathu kwakuyini?
Wangifonela.
He contacted me telephonically.
Wathi une-information mayelana ne-case kaSenzo Meyiwa.
And he said there was information with regards to the matter of Senzo Meyiwa.
Yes.
Ngaqhubeka.
Abese ngiyambuza mina ukuthi ngoba la wayafonela mina ngoba so-4 kule case.
And I asked him.
So-4 wayafonela mina.
And I asked him, why am I the only one that is being contacted, as we are a team of 4 members?
Is my learned friend now going to lead evidence on the hearsay of General Shabane? This we submit, my lord, that it's irregular. The evidence of what General Shabane told this witness is not admissible.
Yeah, Mr. Gomezo.
My lord, that's the reason why I intended to call General Shabane to confirm.
Yeah, but we've traversed that. If Shabane is going to testify for the state, you can't call him. Hey, please.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, my lord.
Yeah, you can't call him. You know that. That's the law. You can't. You can only be called by the state. And I told you the consequences of him refusing if he's called by the state. They can use section 205 or 204, etc., etc.
My lord, the provisions of section 3
Yeah.
are applicable of the law of Evidence Amendment Act. In that the evidence that is given by this witness, it has also been given by accused number 1.
Who gave that evidence?
Yes.
Who gave that evidence?
Accused number 1.
He gave that evidence.
That's correct.
Himself. That's what section 3 of Act 48 of 55 pertains to hearsay evidence which is given by witnesses. Is that not so, Mr.?
This witness is relating the evidence of hearsay.
No, but we're talking about accused number 1 now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm saying the evidence that is before this court in a trial within a trial was led by accused number 1, insofar as General Shabane is concerned.
What did he say? I thought he never spoke about General Shabane.
He spoke about
in the trial within a trial. He spoke about him in the merits. He was spoken of in the merits. Mr. Ngumalo, do you recall that evidence?
No, he testified about the interview that accused number 1 had.
Was it in a trial within a trial, sir?
In the trial within a trial.
Ms. Mshololo?
Yes, Madam, it was in a trial within a trial when accused number 1 was testified.
Right, Mr. Miyaki?
Indeed, my lord, it was.
Mr. Right, Mr. Baloyi, they say he did testify in a trial within a trial about Shabane.
It doesn't make the evidence of this witness acceptable. It still remains
because he had the evidence from who else? He hears the evidence not from accused number 1. He hears the evidence from accused from Shabane. You see, you say you were phoned by Shabane. You were not phoned by accused number 1.
Yes. That is correct, my lord. I was contacted by General Shabane.
Right, that's what he's saying. Yes, Mr. Mgomezo.
Sorry, I didn't hear that, my lord. They were whispering to me, my colleague.
This witness says he was telephoned by General Shabane and told that there is information concerning the murder of Senzo
Meyiwa.
and he says he was surprised because there are 4 in that case. Why should why should he be
That's correct.
favored with such information? That's
So, can you proceed, sir? You said you ask as to why do you say you are also a investigating team in this case?
Manje uthe uye wabuza ukuthi kungani ushayelwa ucingo wedwa. Kungani wena uthi ungomunye wabaphenyi kuleli cala?
Njengoba sabekwa u-National Commission no-Minister
Because we were appointed by the National Commissioner and the Minister to investigate this matter.
But did you attend to the call of General Lishabane?
Kodwa logo obekade uGeneral Lishabane akhuluma ngakho uye wakwenza.
Yebo ngakwenza.
Yes, I did attend to his call.
Can you please tell the court what happened?
Awutshele inkantolo ukuthi kwenzakeleni.
Dorokop bengayazi kahle.
I did not know Clorcop properly.
So mangilong driver belong director.
As I was driving, he was directing me.
Because mhlawumbe isikhathi lapho kungabo 8 ebusuku.
Because it was at around 8 p.m.
Director ngaze ngafika eClorocop.
He directed me until I arrived in Clorcop.
Where exactly in Clorocop you were directed?
Ukudirecte ukuthi ufike kuphi eClorcop.
eClorocop kune-office lamaphoyisa lapho.
There is a police officer's office in Clorcop.
Yes, upon your arrival, what happened?
Mawufika kwayenzakalani?
Bangifika bangifaka kwelinye office. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi office lakhe the way lalibukeka ngakhona.
Upon my arrival, he had put me in a certain office. I think it was his office because of the way it looked.
Yes.
Yebo.
So ukufika kwami lapha ngathola ngoba sasihamba naye uGeneral Shabane ngathola ebengimazi uGeneral Sibiya but ngaleso sikhathi leso wayengasasebenza emaphoyiseni.
Upon my arrival, as I was in the company of General Lishabane, I had found a person that I knew who was General Sibiya. However, he was no longer in the employment of the police.
And then ngathola omunye wayegqoka uniform kodwa ngafakanga ama-epaulets ama-rank.
And I got another police officer who was in uniform but did not put his ranks, the epaulets.
Yes.
Ngaqhubeka.
So General Shabane waqala wathi kimi
So, in relation to in the office, is there anything that was significant that you were called for?
E-ofisini ikhona into ebeyibalulekile ebowubizelwe yona.
njengoba bengisho ngithi efonini wathi kimi ungibiza ngoba une-information case kaSenzo Meyiwa.
Like I said, that on the telephone he had informed me that he is calling me with regards to information that he has with regards to the case of Senzo Meyiwa.
Yes.
Ngaqhubeka.
Masesilapha e-ofisini ke washo ukuthi lona usho ukuthi angazisi ukuthi abobani abala e-ofisini.
When we got to the office, he introduced me to the people that were in the office.
Bese kasho ukuthi lona uyamazi uGeneral Shedrack Sibiya ngiyamazi vele.
And he informed me that I knew General Shedrack Sibiya, whom indeed I knew at that time.
Wabese athi lona uConstable Zungu ilonga ngithi wayefake i-uniform
Then he introduced Constable Zungu, whom I had said that was a police officer that was dressed in uniform.
So the information, was it related to you regarding the death of Senzo Meyiwa?
Manje uye wanikwa ke lolo lwazi le information le bekakhuluma ngayo ngokufa kuka Senzo Meyiwa.
Yebo kunjalo.
Yes, that is correct.
What was said to you?
Kuthiwe kuwe.
Once again,
Hello?
really, we object to this kind of evidence. We've already raised an objection that it's irrelevant, it's CSA evidence. We're going to leave it at that, my lord. We're not going to raise any further objection.
May I withdraw that question, my lord? Sir, was there anything relating to accused number 1 that was mentioned in that office?
Ikhona into ebekade imayelana nomsolo wokuqala eyakhulunywa ngalelo langa kuyo lelo office.
Bakhuluma ukuthi bambopha nge-19 zikaMarch.
They had said they arrested him on the 19th of March,
Bambophela yona ikhesi kaSenzo.
arresting him for the case of Senzo.
Sorry, 19 March, which year?
19 March kumuphunyaka
2019.
2019.
Yes. In that office, what was after you were informed about his arrest, accused number 1?
Sorry. Mr. Mgomezulu, when allegedly did Mr. Senzo Meyiwa die?
Sorry, ma'am.
Allegedly, when is it said that Mr. Senzo Meyiwa died?
26 October 2014.
2014.
Yes,
Okay, fine.
Proceed.
Ungaqhubeka?
Ukuthi usaqhubeka.
I said,
You were still asking me a question?
yes. In relation to accused number 1, I want you to tell the court your involvement about what you were told about accused number 1.
Manje ufuna ukuthi utshele inkantolo ukuthi wena uye wayenzani ngalento ebukade utshelwe ngomsolo wokuqala.
Shothi mhlambe ngichaze or ukuthi mawuthi akuthi angizwisisi kahle ngiyangenzani. Ngichaze mhlawumbe.
I do not understand the question properly. Should I explain what I did, or how am I supposed to respond?
All right. There's a problem that of the state. If you say this is what was said by General Shabane, it amounts to hearsay. But now what accused number 1 told the court that he was arrested on the 19th of March 2019. What actually happened? Because you cannot say what General Shabane has said. According to your own, after you have been related with the information about the death of Senzo, you as warrant officer, you as the investigating officer in this matter, what did you do?
Uthi ummeli kuba nenkinga uma uthi ulishabani uye wathi wangitshela ukuthi lokho kuba nenkinga ingokho umshushise libele ephakama. Ufuna ukwazi ukuthi wena njengephoyisa ebelikade liphenya wenzeni ngokwakho.
Shothi information bebanayo beyishayisana nalo lwazi mina engilaziyo mayelana nale case.
The information that they had was contradictory to the information that I had relating to this case.
What do you mean by that?
Usho ukuthini uma usho kanjalo?
ukuthi ngeke ngisasho ukuthi bathi ngo-number 1 kwenzakalani baze bathinta ngo-number 5 u-number 5 ngiyamazi-ke.
I will not state what they said with regards to number 1. They also implicated number 5, whom I know.
Okay. Accused number 1 has told the court that he was arrested by the police, he was assaulted, he was taken to Chlorocop for interrogation. And accused number 1 told the court that there was Zongo. He had the names because he didn't know who those people were. He had the names of Zongo, Makhubu, Sibiya, and Shabane.
Umsolo wokuqala yena uthi yebo uboshiwe ngo-2019 la ukuthi uye washawa futhi wayisiwa eChlorokop wezwa ngoba wayekade engabazi labo bantu wezwa amagama uZungu, uSibiya, Makhubo noLshabane.
Njengoba sengichazile ukuthi mina bengikhona eChlorokop, ukhona mina, ukhona uZungu, ukhona yena uJenerali Shabane noSibiya.
As I have testified that I was present in that particular office in Chlorokop, Zungu was present, Sibiya was present, as well as Leshabani in that particular office that I was in.
All right, sir. Let's say after that meeting, being the investigating officer of the case, was accused number 1 charged formally from the information that you were given?
Manje ngale ngemva kwalowo mhlangano onibe nawo kuleya nkantolo kuleliya office umsolo wokuqala uye wathweswa amacala na ngemva kokuthi uthole lelo lwazi leli bengikade nihlanganele
Was he charged with the death of Senzo Meyiwa?
uye wathweswa icala lika Senzo Meyiwa lokubulawa kuka Senzo Meyiwa.
Ngokwazi kwami azange wagcina ngokuboshwa nje kodwa azange ayikhotha.
According to my information or knowledge, the last that happened was for him to be arrested, but he never appeared in court.
All right. So when did you learn that accused number 1 was further arrested on the same allegations?
Manje uzwe nini futhi ukuthi umsolo wokuqala uboshiwe ngazo lezo insolo lezo?
Mina ngazwa nje kuthiwa kunabantu ababoshiwe abawu5 ekhayisini kaSenzo.
I only heard that there were 5 people that were arrested with regards to the case of Senzo Meyiwa.
I did not mean that we must give evidence against the state because they are also working for the state. But if you have any knowledge in relation to how a confession is taken, can you assist this court?
Sorry. I like to understand concepts. You are putting it to this witness that you don't intend him to give evidence against the state because he is working for the state. Am I understanding you correctly?
That's correct.
What is he doing now? I thought you said he's still a policeman.
Yes.
He's not giving evidence against the state.
He is, but...
Okay, fine. As long as
correct.
you're clear then.
Can you please assist the court in relation to the procedure of taking a confession if a suspect intends to make a confession? What procedure must be followed?
As a court, please, my lord. How can
we know that he's not the justice of the peace.
A junior officer
complain about that?
Yes, as a court, please.
We all know the law. He said he's a warrant officer.
That's correct.
It's not the justice of the peace.
My lord, I never said he took a confession.
You said the
he
procedure.
He has referred matters
okay, fine,
where the suspect.
Fine.
If, say, Let me just clarify this because I can see there's a bit of misunderstanding. Since the years of your employment in the SAPS, have you came across a suspect who wanted to make a confession? And what procedure did you follow?
Kuso sonke lesikhathi lesi osisebenzi njengephoyisa kuke kwaba nesikhathi na la ukuthi umsolwa uke wafuna ukugonyuluka efuna ukusho iqiniso lezinto ezenzakele mhlawumbe wena uma ingabe uye waba nalo lolo lwazi wena uye wathatha ziphi inyathelo
ekuphenyeni nje baningi abagonyoluka ekuphenyeni kwami.
Upon my investigations there are a lot of suspects that confessed in my investigations.
Yes.
Ungaqhubeka?
What is the procedure that you usually follow?
Eziphi inyathelo enizithathayo uma umuntu sekazogonyuluka?
Okay, ngizoqala kanje.
I will start in this manner.
Suspect uyaboshwa.
The suspects get arrested.
Ngaleso sikhathi une evidence.
And at that time you would be having evidence.
Suspect ifana court before 48 hours expired.
And the suspect should appear in court before the expiry of 48 hours.
So fane wena njengomuntu ophethe case umcharge before a court.
And as an officer you need to charge that person before they appear before the magistrate.
Ukumcharge ke umthatha imino yakhe.
And charging a person you need to take their fingerprints.
Nokuthi umthathe warning statement.
And also take a warning statement.
Yes.
Ungaqhubeka?
Inkinga ke ifika la ku warning statement. Khona la kuyiphathi warning statement. Ebhaliwe ukuthi statement by the suspect.
Manje, now the problem comes where there is on a warning statement where it says warning statement by the suspect.
Yes.
Ungaqhubeka?
Where's the problem?
Inkinga iba kuphi?
Ilapho kange soyamchazisela.
That is where
somtshelile amalungelo wakhe.
That is where you are now explaining to the suspect after you have informed him of their rights according to the warning.
Yes.
Ungaqhubeka?
I understand boso yamtshela ukuthi i-evidence onayo yipi na yipi eyenza ukuthi umcharge la.
And that suspect would understand, and you then inform the suspect of what evidence do you have that makes you to charge that suspect.
Yes.
And then boso yamtshela ukuthi khona ofuna ukusho na ngoba le form liyakuleader ukuthi no ukhona lokumele akusho la kule form abese assigna la ngaphansi.
And you then inform the suspect that is there anything that you want to say, and then at the end the suspect would sign after the suspect has informed you.
Uyahluka ngesikhathi omunye makathi uzokunikeza statement athi mina ngizokhuluma ecourt.
It differs. Some of the suspects, they would then say they will speak in court when you're asking them for a statement.
Yes.
Okunye ke ususpect uyagonyuluka makagonyuluka mina as a warrant officer stop.
And at some instances the suspects would then confess, and upon them confessing as a warrant officer I would then stop.
Yes.
Megaba.
Kuluka ngitshela kona okuhambelana nale case engiyiphethe agonyuluka ngako. Bese ngiyambuza ngimtshela amalungelo wakhe ngimtshela ukuthi akafostekile ukuthi no angayikhuluma lento la kimi.
Upon what the suspect is informing me, I would stop the suspect and inform them that they are not forced to tell me what they are about to tell me.
Yes.
Bese ngiyambuza ukuthi uma ngathola omunye umuntu ongazi lutho ngale case esikhuluma ngayo angamtshela yini lokho angitshela kona yena.
Then I would ask the suspect if I am to get an independent person that doesn't know anything about this particular case that we are referring to, will the suspect be able to inform that independent person what they wanted to inform me?
Uyaphendula komunye ukuthi akunankinga.
Then some suspects would agree that they do not have any problem.
Yes.
Mangathi akanankinga bese ngifonela mhlawumbe ucommander wami, branch commander.
If the suspects say they do not have a problem, then I would contact my commander, which is the branch commander.
Nani ngiyamtshela branch commander ukuthi ngiphenya iqala la. Ngine suspect lana ngiyayicharge bengibhala iwarning uthi ufuna ukwenza ufuna ugonyuluka.
And then I would inform the commander that I was charging the suspect, and whilst we were busy with the warning, the suspect wants to now make a confession.
Yes.
Kodwa ebengicela ukuthi ngichaze.
However, this is what I would like to explain.
Kule warning le njengoba sashilo ukuthi akanankinga yokuthi angatshela omunye umuntu.
On that warning statement,
ngale case le engimchargela yona.
On that warning statement, as the suspect had already confirmed that they would not have any problem informing an independent person with regards to the particular case.
Ngiyabhala la khona la ngibhale ngithi no suspect ufuna ugonyuluka.
I would also write that the suspect wishes to make a confession.
Bese ngiyamsayinisa la ngaphansi.
Then make the suspect to sign underneath.
And then khona space futhi la kusayina mina khona.
There is
the investigating office.
There is also a space where myself as an investigating officer will sign.
Bese futhi kunye ngimbeka isithupha sakhe la sign khona eduze kwesignature yakhe.
Then I would also take the thumbprint of that suspect and place it next to their signature.
Bese ngitshela ubranch commander ukuthi angi-arrangele mina ngeni phela njengomuntu uphenya icala angi-arrangele kune-suspect efuna ukugonyuluka.
Then I would inform the branch commander to arrange for me, as I am not part of it. I would ask the branch commander to arrange someone because the suspect wants to confess.
So the place where the suspect is kept does it matter as to the place where the suspect is kept?
Manje la umsolo ayigcinwe khona leyo ndawo iyaze isetshenziswe noma yanakwa ukuthi ugcinwe kuphi?
No, angithi mangase baqedile uzobuya ke mu-branch commander athi umuntu ngimtholile bese ngiyamthatha ngimyisa police station Masele.
No, the branch commander would come back to me and inform me that they have gotten that independent person, and then I would then detain the suspect into the cells.
Yes, proceed.
Bega.
Bese ngiyamtshela branch commander ukuthi igama le-suspect ubani.
And I would then inform the branch commander on who the name of the suspect is.
Angimtshela ama-details we-case. Ngimnikeze igama le-suspect, ngimnikeze i-SAP 14, ngimnikeze nokuthi udetainwe kuphi kuphela.
I do not disclose the details of the matter. I would inform the branch commander of the SAP 14 and where the suspect is detained at.
So is that all that you want to share with the court?
Yiko kodwa lokho ofuna ukutshela inkantolo?
Branch commander uzenza konke yena, mina ngene lapho.
The branch commander would do everything and I would not be involved.
Nalaba mhlambe thola ukuthi mhlawumbe bengihamba nabo siyokwenza arrest nabo bangeni lapho abasondeli nje lapho.
And other arresting officers that maybe I was in company of when we arrested the suspect, they are also not part of that.
In relation to this matter, there is evidence before this court that by Brigadier Kininda that he interviewed accused number 1 at Fosloras police station where accused number 1 made some admissions. He spoke as if he's making a confession.
Manje la enkantolo kuleli cala esibhekane nalo kunobufakazi obulethwe uBrigadier Kininda ukuthi ubekade ekhuluma nomsolwa wokuqala emhloma ibibuzo la ukuthi umsolwa wokuqala yena uye wakhuluma ebonakala ingathi kunezinto afuna ukuzivuma noma egonyuluka.
In terms of in comparing your evidence, I understand Brigadier Kininda is a commissioned officer. He can take a confession.
Uma bandakanisa nobufakazi bakho uyezwa yena ukuthi uBrigadier Kininda ungumuntu oyikuthi angakwazi ukuthi athathe istatement somuntu uma egonyuluka.
Yebo ngakwazi ukusithatha istatement somuntu as a commission officer.
Yes.
Ukuthi agonyuluke mara makaphethe case hlukile ke lo.
Yes, he would be able to take a statement of a person when they confess. However, if he is the lead investigating officer, it would then be different.
Yes. Is it the same case as we have mentioned that if a suspect wants to make a confession, you contact your branch commander?
Kuyafana njengoba uqada ukuchaza manje ukuthi uma umuntu sekafuna ukugonyuluka kanjalo kwamele ushayele ucingo ku branch commander yakho.
The witness is being asked to express an opinion, which we submit, my lord, is irrelevant. But
Yes,
we're
yes,
going to leave it at that.
May I withdraw the question? May I withdraw? May we adjourn for?
No, let's go on, please. Time has been wasted already.
It's 20 to 12. It's fine. Okay. In relation to the evidence that is in this court, according to your evidence, you said even those people that were present during the arrest of the suspect are not even supposed to be closer to the suspect when he's making a confession.
Okuya ngobufakazi bakho. Nalabantu laba bokade uhamba nabo ngalesikhathi bekuboshwa umsolwa akwamelanga ukuthi basondele ngalesikhathi umsolwa eyogonyuluka kanjani.
Once again, this is opinion evidence. We've made the submission that it's irrelevant.
I'm referring to him. That's the evidence given by him. That's the role he's playing when he's interrogating a suspect. That is his evidence. That even the arresting officers that were present, in this case, being the investigating officer, am I correct to say, are you the investigating officer of 636 of 10/2014?
Umshoshisi ummeli uthi ufuna ukwazi ukuthi wena iqiniso nawo ukuthi wena iphoyisa eliphenyayo kuleli cala u636 of 2014.
Bese ngishilo ngabekwa National Commissioner no Minister wamaphoyisa kule case.
As I have
636 of 10/2014.
As I have previously stated that I was appointed by the Minister of Police and the Commissioner to investigate in the matter 636 of 10 of 2014.
So you mentioned 4 people that were appointed by the minister. Do you know if Sergeant Mukhola and Sergeant Mukhani were also part of those people who were
Ukhulume ngabantu
appointed by the
abane.
National Commission.
Ukhulume ngabantu abane eyukuthi bona bebakade beyingxenye yalo liphenyo. Uyazi ukuthi uSergeant Mukhola no Sergeant Mukhane bekade kungabanye abantu abekuthi bebakade bekwe ucommissioner nomphathi wamaphoyisa.
What is the relevance of the question that my learned friend is asking?
There's evidence before this court that they were part of the investigating team under the lead of Brigadier Gininda. I want the witness to agree if he has the knowledge of the of Mohane and Mhola during the investigations in this case.
Uthumela uyazi ukuthi uMukhane noMukhola nabo bekade kuyingxenye yalabantu bekade bebekwe ucommissioner nomphathi wamaphoyisa. No, I do not know.
Okay. So, when accused number 1 was arrested, including accused number 2, 3, 4, and 5, were you contacted by either or by one of the investigating officers that were appointed under 636-10-2014?
Uma umsolo wokuqala eboshwa nabo bonke laba owemsolo wesibini wesithathu wesine nowesihlanu uye wathintwa na washayelwa ucingo mhlawumbe womunye wabaphenyi balecala u636-10-2014.
Akekho ngifone.
No, there is no one that contacted me.
There's evidence that has been led by the state to the effect that this matter 636-10-2014 is one of the matters that falls under the cold case unit.
Kunobufakazi obulethiwe la enkantolo ukuthi lecala lelu 636 elinye lamacala ekuthawela ngaphansi kwale unit ye cold case.
What is a cold case unit?
Yini I cold case unit?
A cold case unit. Abantu abaphenya ngamacala lawa asafayiliwe kuma archives afayiliwe.
Cold case unit, it's a team that is investigating matters that have been filed and archived.
So is this matter 636, was it one of the matters that were filed?
Is 636 kwakade kungenye yamacala abekade efayiliwe?
How will the witness know that? And what is the relevance of all this?
The witness is the investigating officer, unless the state will rebut the fact that he has never been appointed.
Who was the chief? Sorry, maybe let's get this. Who was, according to your instructions, who was the lead investigating officer? Because maybe Ibn Rachamakwatleng was an investigating officer of a lower rank. Maybe my job was just to polish the shoes of Brigadier Ginenda.
My lord, according to my instruction
Yes,
as
yes.
the court so request to, according to my instruction is that there's no one who was appointed to lead the investigation. They were all,
Okay, fine, no problem, I
Yes.
hear you. So when Ginenda comes here and says he's a lead investigator, he was not being frank with the court.
that's
Okay, fine.
what I'll argue
Okay, fine.
at a later stage.
All right.
So, sir, do you confirm that instruction that under 636, no one has been appointed by the National Commissioner to lead the investigation?
Uyavuma na ukuthi kulecala u636 akekho umuntu obekade yena embekiwe ucommissioner noma umphathi wamaphoyisa ukuthi kube uyena oyikuthi ungumphenyi omkhulu kulelicala.
Ngeke kwathiwa loba no4 nezophenya lelicala. Akuzange kuthiwe wena uzohamba phambili or ulide laba. Akuzange kuthiwe kanjalo.
When we were appointed, we were informed that we will all investigate this matter. There was no one.
Irrespective of rank.
akuzange kubhekwe nokuthi irank kabani ithini nivele kwathiwe nje nonke nizophela.
Into eyenza lokho ukuthi uminister asho kanjalo kukhona abantu abalinganayo ngamarank, so azange akwazi ukuthi abheke umuntu ukuthi athi wena uzolida le investigation.
My Lord, what made the minister to say that it's because there were people that were equal in ranks, and that is why the minister did not choose anyone to lead the investigation.
So everybody was leader. You
Wonke
are
umuntu-
equal. Nobody makes a decision. All of you are equal.
wonke umuntu ke bekade niphenya nje nonke nilingana, akekho obekade ethatha isinqumo.
No, ngichaza ukuthi ngizosho ngamagama uKenneth Gininda noKenneth Ramkhali bekurank A1.
My Lord, Colonel Gininda and Colonel Ramkhali were in the same rank of A.
Yes.
So kukhona noCaptain Buthelezi
And there was also Captain Buthelezi,
also kuba yimi warrant officer Makhubu.
and there was myself, Warrant Officer Makhubu.
So, when you appointed, if I want to get it correctly, you said, what evidence do you have that we appointed to investigate this case 636?
Obuphi ubufakazi obeninabo noma yini
That you
into
in the
engabonakanisa njengobufakazi ukuthi ubekade nawe ungomunye umuntu obekade ebekiwe?
As a court, please.
Mr. Baloyi, I know he's now cross-examining his own witness. Please, let's go on with this case.
I'm not cross-examining, I'm putting, say, according to your involvement in this matter, you were not, or at any given stage prior to the arrest of these 5 accused, you had a meeting with the rest of the investigating officer appointed.
Sona isikhathi ukuthi niye nahlangana njengabaphenyi balecala ngaphambi kokuthi abasolwa baboshwe.
Asihlangane kaningi.
We indeed had meetings.
But in relation to the confessions that were allegedly made by accused number 1 and number 2,
Ukuya ngokugonyuluka lokho kwenziwe umsolwa wokuqala nowesibili.
Hayi cha, sasihlangane la.
No, we did not meet with regards to the confessions.
so are you saying you were not involved in the taking of the confessions of accused number 1 and 2? And are you also saying that it was not by agreement between the investigating officers?
Manje uthi wena awuzange ube ingxenye yaloko kugonyuluka okwenziwe umsolwa wokuqala nowesibili, futhi nina njengabaphenyi nanikade ningavumelananga ngaleyo nto.
Okay, you can just mention accused number 1.
Uthi ungakhuluma njengomsolwa wokuqala, umsolwa wesibili ungakhulumi ngaye.
Kulama meeting besiluka siwahamba.
On the meetings that we held,
Kwaba nembono ehlukene. Ingakho kwaba khona ukusuka
there were different opinions.
Yes.
so kwaba ngamaqembu ayi2.
And that is when we divided into 2 teams.
Lokho kwazenzakalela ngoba kwaba nemibono ehlukene.
It naturally happened because we had different opinions.
Ingakho noma kuboshwa abamangalelwa laba azange saziswe mina no Colonel Buthelezi.
And that is why even when the suspects were arrested, we were not informed, myself and Colonel Buthelezi.
So let's get back to, you said, insofar as your knowledge about the cold case, this case was not filed, it was still under investigation. Is that your evidence?
Uthe wena ukuya ngolwazi lwakho leli cala lona lalikade lingakafayilwa ukuya ngolwazi lwakho.
Mina ngafayilwa leli cala leli into engenza ukuthi ngisho ukuthi belingakafayilwa. Uminister yathi makasibeka wathi bekunama member of 40 aphenya leqala.
Yes, this matter was not filed yet, and what makes me to say that is because the minister, when he appointed us, he said there were 40 members that were investigating this matter.
So bakoshilo fakati.
And
so far.
And he had dismissed all of them, and he was now appointing the 4 of us.
So, in connection with the investigations, and you even said there were 2 camps because of different opinions.
Manje ngalolu phenyo njengoba uye wathi nigcine sekuthi seniyahlukana kuba amaqembu amabini ngoba nani kade ninemibono ehlukile.
So was there any consultation with the state prosecutor or the director of public prosecutions in relation to your independent opinions?
Kunesikhathi la ukuthi mhlawumbe niye nakhulumisana nomshushisi noma abaphathi babashushisi ukuya ngale mibono yenu ehlukile. Yes, that is correct.
Please tell the court.
Tshela inkantolo.
Ngomhlaka idate angisayikhumbuli mara ngo 2020.
Even though I would not recall the date,
Sorry,
but it was
2019.
But it was in the year 2019.
So sase office in laga advocate Baloyi.
We were in Advocate Baloyi's office.
Sizokhuluma ngayo indaba yale case.
To speak about this particular case. Bega?
Awubeka umbono wami ku advocate Baloyi.
And I have given Advocate Baloyi my opinion.
Yes.
Bega?
Ngalo lonke uphenyo lalo mbono wami ohlukile
about the investigation of my different opinion.
Yes.
Qhubeka ba.
so sashi docket kuye.
And we left the docket in Mr. Baloyi's office.
If you say we, with who were you?
Uma uthi sa shia i-docket. Bonobani. It was myself and Colonel Buthelezi.
Yes.
Yebo.
Uma kusenjalo kwafika uKenneth Genenda kwafika nedocket leli linye
And
abayithula amadocket.
And after that, whilst we were still there, then Colonel Gininda came with another docket. Then there were 2 dockets.
To mention which docket is that? Is it 636 and?
The ama docket ungasho bewe 636 nayipi.
Phosphorus case 375
Phosphorus case 375
stroke 1 stroke 2019.
Stroke 1 stroke 2019.
So you left these 2 dockets with Advocate Baloyi, or is it the only one docket that you left with Advocate Baloyi.
Lama dokoto omabini nawashiya no Advocate Baloyi noma nashiya elilodwa.
asala wethu.
We left both of them.
Then you said Brigadier Gininda arrived. What do you mean by that?
Uthe Brigadier Gininda wafika usho ukuthini ngalokho?
Wayefika phethe docket 636 Phosphorus case 636.
He came in position of a docket Phosphorus case 636
stroke 10 stroke 2014.
stroke 10 stroke 2014.
Mach dich bereit.
Yes.
Yebo.
What's the relevance of that? What did you do with the docket?
Ibaluleke kanjani lento oyishoyo wenzeni ngaleyo docket?
Ukuthi phela njengomthuthisi athathe decision kule nto esiyenzile kule investigation esiyenzile.
So that the prosecution would take a decision on the investigation that we had made.
My Lord, apologies for interruption. I just got a note that accused number 3 needs some comfort.
What's your time, Mr. Baloyi?
It's 12 o'clock exactly, my lord.
Yeah, we're adjourned for 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Mr. Makhubu, I think that will be my final question.
Tumbuzo wakhe wokugcina nawo.
Was there any letter that was issued to you by the National Commissioner or the Minister terminating your appointment as the investigating officer in this case?
Ikhona incwadi oye wayinikwa mhlawumbe umphathi wamaphoyisa noma incwadi ewuye wanikwa ukuthi kuleli cala awusase omunye wabaphenyi. No, I did not receive
Thank
that
you, my
letter.
lord. I have no further
Yes,
questions.
thanks. Yes, Mr. Baloyi.
As the court, please, my lord. Warrant officer.
Sorry, should we go first with, sorry, Mr. Yes.
As the court proceeds, my lord, I don't have any questions for you.
You don't have any questions? Yes, Mnyeki?
No question.
Mr. Numalo?
But I have no questions, thank you.
Mr. Mshololo?
No questions, Madam.
Okay, yes, Mr.
Warrant officer Makhubu, you testify that you were not involved in the taking down of the confession of accused number 1. Is that correct?
Uthe awuzange ube ingxenye yokuthi ubhale uma umsolo egonyulu.
Ngisho kanjalo.
That is correct.
You were also not involved in the pointings out that took place on the 5th of June 2020. Is that correct?
Futhi nokukhomba okwayenzakala nge-5 zika June 2020 wawukade ungasiyingxenye yakho.
Yebo kanjalo.
That is correct.
And those are the issues that the court is seized with at the moment. So your evidence is not helpful as far as those two aspects are concerned: the taking down of the confession of accused number 1, as well as the pointing out that took place on the 5th of June 2020. The confession took place on the 30th of May 2020. You cannot be of any of assistance to the court as far as those two statements are concerned. Is that correct?
Lezi zinto ezimqoka ezisilethelana namuhla ukuthi abasolo abaye bayokhomba futhi bagonyuluka ukuthi nge-5 zika June 2020 nange-30 zika May 2020 wena wawukade ungasiyingxenye yakho lokho, kusho ukuthi ubufakazi bakho abukwazi ukuthi kungasiza inkantolo ngalezo zinto ezimbini, ukukhomba nokugonyuluka kwakho.
Yebo kanjalo.
That is correct.
You don't know the circumstances under which those statements were obtained.
Futhi awazi nokuthi leza statement zabhalwa noma zatholwa kanjani.
Angazi.
Yes, I do not know.
You testify that you were appointed by the National Commissioner and the Minister
Uthe wena uye waphakanyiswa noma wamiswa commissioner no minister
to be involved in this investigation.
ukuthi uzophenya kule cala.
Yebo kunjalo.
That is correct.
If you say we, who are you referring to?
Uma uthi sa thina usho abobani?
Ukuyimi
It was myself,
Colonel Telesi,
Colonel Buthelezi,
Colonel Ramohale,
Colonel Ramohale,
also kuba Colonel Geninda by then.
And-
Isikhathi leso kuku Colonel Geninda.
and Colonel Gininda. By then he was still Colonel.
But were you all appointed at the same time?
Nonke
These people that you've mentioned, were you all appointed at the same time?
nakhethwa nonke ngesikhathi esisodwa.
Ngesikhathi esisodwa.
Yes, at the same time, man.
And when was that? When did this appointment take place?
Bekunini ngayiphi date ngamuphi unyaka?
Nge-18 zika November 2018.
On the 18th of November in 2018.
The evidence of Brigadier Ginina is that they took over as a cold case unit in 2019. What is your comment?
Brigadier Gininda yena uthe bona baye bafika basebenza baqala ukusebenza kuleli cala ngo-2019 njenge cold case unit.
Mina angiyazi cold case unit emaphoyiseni angiyazi.
I do not know the cold case unit in the police service.
But you've just testified about the cold case unit. How can you say you don't know about it?
Manje mawuthi awuyazi cold case unit usho kanjani ngoba bowuphana ubufakazi ngayo?
No, ngibuzwe ngama case ukuthi anjani ama case ay cold case unit, not unit.
I was asked about the type of cases. What type of cases are referred to as cold case units, not the unit itself.
You testify that the cold case unit deals with cases that have been filed. Is that correct?
Kodwa uthe i-cold case unit isebenza ngama case ekuthi sewafayiliwe. Iqiniso lelo?
Dennis.
That is correct.
But Brigadier Gininda outlined the mandate of the cold case unit as working on cases that have not been resolved, not filed.
Brigadier Gininda yena uye wachaza kabanzi ukuthi i-cold case unit isebenza ngamacala angaqedwanga, hayi amacala afayiliwe.
Anje ngichaze le ndaba.
May I explain?
Yes.
Idokede lisaphenywa. Elisaphenywa.
A docket that is still investigated.
Alibandi lelo dokede ngoba lisaphenywa.
It's not a cold.
Lisesandleni se-investigating officer.
It's not.
Lisaqhubeka yaphenywa.
It's not a cold
case.
docket because it's still in the hands of an investigating officer and they're still investigating it. Qhubeka.
I-case ebandayo. I-case esefiling.
A cold case, it's a case that is on file.
That's why it's a cold case because ifayiliwe.
And that is why it is referred to as a cold case because it has been filed.
Is that your understanding of the mandate of the cold case unit?
Ukuzwisisa kwakho ngokuthi cold case unit isebenza kanjani.
Angizwisisi ngiyazi.
It is not my understanding, it's my knowledge.
Anyway, we're not going to enter into a debate into that, but Brigadier Gininda testified that the mandate of the cold case unit is to deal with cases that have not been resolved. Not cases that have been filed.
Ngeke siphikisane ngalokho kodwa uBrigadier Gininda yena uye wathi amacala akusetshenzwa ngawo kwi-cold case unit amacala ayikuthi awaqedwanga.
You mentioned that there were two teams working on this matter regarding the death of Mr. Senzo Meyiwa, is that correct?
Uthe kuye kwaba namaqembu amabini abekade esebenza ngaleli cala lika Mufi uSenzo Meyiwa. Iqiniso lo?
Ngithe engahambeni kwe-investigation.
I said
Kwaba nokuhlukana kwaba nokuqhezuka kwama-team ayi-2.
I said as the investigation proceeded, then that's when there were two teams where we divided.
And he testified that these teams were of different opinions. Is that correct?
Uthe lamaqembu lawa wayekade ehlukene ngemicabango.
Yebo kanjalo.
That is correct.
This is regarding what?
Benihlukaniswa yini kule micabango?
Sehlukaniswa indaba yesenzakalo se-crime scene eyenzakala eFosloras.
We were divided by the place of the crime scene of what happened in Fosloras.
Yes.
Yebo.
Is it correct that there are two theories?
Iqiniso ukuthi nemibono ehlukile emibini.
Yebo kanjalo.
That is correct.
And what are those theories?
Nina nibona kanjani?
How is that going to help us resolve the admissibility of the confession?
Yes, that's just based on his evidence. But just one aspect on this point, my lord. You mentioned that you were an investigator in 636, First Lawrence 63610/2014. Is that correct?
Uche wawukade ungumphenyi kwi-Fosloras case 63610/2014.
I am umphenyi ukhona.
Yes, I am an investigator.
But is that correct?
Kodwa iqiniso lokho?
Yebo iqiniso.
Yes, it is correct.
But is it not so that you were appointed inspector of Fosloras case 3751 of 2019?
Akusiyiqiniso na ukuthi wena ubukade uphiwe ukuthi uphenye kuleli cala lika 375/10/2019.
3751 of 2019.
3751 yaka 2019.
Lelo le docket lika 37 Fosloras 375 stroke 1 stroke 2019.
Yebo.
Livele masloke Spenya u Fosloras 636 of 10/2014.
The docket of 375/1/2019 emanated as we were busy investigating the docket of 63610 of 2014.
And is it correct that you are the co-investigator in that case, Fosloras 3751 of 2019?
Iqiniso ukuthi wena umphenyi ophethe la kuleli cala lika 375/1/2019.
No, selipenya sababili. No, yimi no Colonel Teddy.
The matter is being investigated by myself and Colonel Buthelezi.
So in fact, you are not the investigating officer in Fosloras 63610 of 2014, but you are the investigating officer in 3751 of 2019. Is that correct?
Kusho ukuthi wena awusiyena umphenyi waka 63610 of 2014, ungumphenyi wecala le 3751 of 2019.
Njengoba sengishilo ukuthi idocket le 375 liphume from ku-Fosloras case 366.
Like I said, that the docket 3751 of 2019 came from the docket of 636
Yes.
of 10/2014.
Yes, and you carried on with the investigation in 3751 of 2019. Is that correct?
Waqhubeka ke kuphenyo lika 3751 of 2019.
Yebo.
That is correct.
So it will not be correct to say that you are the investigating officer in Fosloras 63610 of 2014.
Kusho ukuthi akusilona iqiniso uma kuthiwa wena ungumphenyi waka 63610/2014.
nawo wonke.
I have all the dockets 63610/2014 and the other one.
But Warrant Officer Makhubu, without belaboring that point, the docket that you are currently carrying, it's Fosloras case 3751 of 2019. Is that correct?
Uthi kodwa idokodo ewuliphethe u 3751 of 2019. Iqiniso?
Noma ngisho ngithi ngwaphethe oyi-2 akhona oyi-2 in my possession kimi.
My Lord,
Akhona.
as I am saying, I have both of them in my possession.
Are you investigating both dockets?
Waphenya womabini.
Mangisebenza le case le 375. Angithi ngicala ngibheka ngapha ku 636.
As I'm working on the case 375, I firstly refer to 636.
Now, the procedure that you've outlined regarding the arrangements for the confession, that you make arrangements with your branch commander, is it documented anywhere?
Leziya inyathelo ewuthe esowukhulume ngazo ukuthi uzokhulumisana no branch commander wakho kunala ukuthi kuye kwabhalwa khona na.
Into engayiyela ngayifundiswa, into engikhuluma la, into engayifundela. That's into esuka kimi ngayifundela, ngayifundiswa.
That is what I was taught. It's not what I just think of or just something that I know. It's something that I was taught.
But what I'm asking you is it documented anywhere?
Uthi umshushisi kunala iyabhalwa khona na.
Hey balok laba bayasifundisa eclassini pha. Yibo babaphethe ama-module.
It was documented. It was documented by our lectures in class, as they are the ones that had the modules.
You agree that the evidence that you gave regarding the arrest of accused number 1 on the 19th of March 2020, that is what you heard from other people. You've got no first-hand knowledge regarding that, is that correct?
Uyavuma ukuthi ubufakazi obuzwe ngalokhu kuboshwa kukamsola wokuqala nge-19 zika March 2019 into eyukuthi uyizwe kwabanye abantu awunalo ulwazi ngakho.
Ngizwe eChlorokop.
Yes, I heard it in Chlorokop when I was called.
Thank you, my lord. Those are the only aspects there.
Yeah, just for my interest, because I'm shocked at what you say. You're saying the minister had originally appointed 40 investigators, 40.
Uthi uminister ubekade yena eqashe abantu abawu-40 ebekade bephenya kwicala. Before us, my lord?
Sir,
Yes.
did you say the minister had appointed 40 investigators?
Uthi inkantolo ifuna ukwazi ukuthi uthe uminister uthe wayekade eqashe abantu abawu-40 abaphenya kwicala.
Uminister njengoba bengishilo la. Ngithe uminister uthe bokunabantu abawu-40 kule case.
As I have said, my lord,
Wabaqosha.
the minister said there were 40 people in this case and he dismissed
All of them?
Bonke.
Bonke.
All of them.
Well, I'll reserve my comments.
Uthi ngeke
Thank you,
aphawule
sir.
uzawuthula ngalo.
Yes, Mr. Mwizu.
From the question that were asked by my colleague regarding docket 375 and docket 636, is it the same crime scene?
Uthi ummeli ke kumibuzo ebuzwe umshushisi leli dokodo u636 no375 la kwenzakele isigameko yindawo eyodwa.
Indawo eyodwa.
Yes, it is the same crime scene.
Is it the same suspects?
Abasolwa bona labo abafanayo kulamacala omabili. No. No.
Will you able to?
Mr.
Sorry.
Mwizu, you're aware
Sorry.
that you're abusing the process?
No.
You are aware?
I'm aware of that. Sorry.
Yeah, please.
I beg your pardon.
Yes, is there any other witness you're calling, sir?
No.
No other witness?
No other witness.
Is that number 2's case now?
That's number 2's case. Number 1's case.
I mean, sorry, number 1's case. Yes, Mr. Baloyi, will you say?
As a court, please, my lord, we're ready to argue. To start with, my lord, we'll ask that the evidence of this witness be struck off the record as irrelevant. The evidence of Warrant Officer Makhubu.
Sorry, before you start, what's the time now?
It's 12:34, my lord.
Okay.
Yes. That his evidence be struck off the record as hearsay evidence and as being irrelevant. He can make no contribution on his own admission, my lord. He can make no contribution regarding the issues that this court is seized with. Then, my lord, as far as the argument on the trial within the trial is concerned, we have filed heads of argument.
Yeah, but Mr. Ngobezule, you filed fresh heads, as you said.
Yes, my lord, my heads are ready, and I didn't make copies, my lord, because I was thinking that we are going to revise these heads, but may I just stand the matter down so that
you want to revise them?
Quickly? No. There are certain additional information that I was going to supplement on. May I stand the matter so that I can do copies for the court?
As the court pleases, my lord, we have an extra copy of the heads. Should the court need a copy?
Yeah, let's see. I told you it's formatted, one of the copies.
Yes, it's the same copy, my lord. We haven't changed anything.
Okay, is that so?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir.
My lord, from the outset, we apologize. Our heads have got words arising from typing errors, and we'll just point out those words as we go along.
Okay, fine.
The structure of our argument will be as follows. We'll start with the issues that has to be decided within the trial, and we will then foreshadow our submissions. We will then set out the law governing those issues. We'll also set out the facts or the evidence in casu that has been tendered. And we will then briefly deal with the defense case. We will then make our concluding submissions. My lord, on page 1, paragraph 1.1, we mentioned that the admissibility of a confession statement made by accused number 1 to Lieutenant Colonel M.M. Mboto on the 30th of May 2020 at Diepkloof Police Station, and a pointing out made by accused number 1 to Lieutenant Colonel Hadebe on the 5th of June 2020, both being justices of the peace or commissioned officers, and a confession statement made by accused number 2 to Lieutenant Colonel Rapadu, also a justice of the peace or commissioned officer, on the 19th of June 2020 at Moroka Police Station, and another confession statement made to Magistrate V. Gronier at the Boksburg Magistrate Court on the 24th